Hi, today we're going to be making American crusting buttercream. One of the ingredients we're going to be using today is our butter. The reason why we're putting butter in this recipe is so that we have a longer time to frost our cakes and that the buttercream doesn't crust as fast as it normally does without butter. When we add butter to the frosting, it doesn't change the flavor, it doesn't change the consistency, it just makes the frosting easier to smooth out and gives it more time to crust. The other ingredient we're going to be using is shortening, a high ratio shortening that I purchased by the block and I cut up for my home-based bakers and my students. This high ratio shortening has no trans fat, it's made with soybean and emulsifying agents in order to make the frosting firm to resist high temperatures and high humidity. I've delivered cakes at the beach by using this product and my cakes have never melted. They can be out for about 2 hours out on the beach on a 90-95 degree weather. So this product is an excellent product for the tropics. I'm here in Florida, and those of us who are in high temperature weather, high ratio shortening is what you want to use. The other ingredient I use is popcorn salt. Popcorn salt is a fine grained salt. It's used for popcorn, of course, because it's very, very thin and powdery, but it doesn't have no flavor. This is just regular salt, grinded up into almost a powder. So if you don't find popcorn salt in the aisles, you can always take regular salt at home, grind it up in the palm of your hand, and pour it into your sugar. We're using powdered sugar, which is 10x sugar, which is also confectioner's sugar. And the reason why it's called 10x is because it's been grinded 10 times. I buy the sugar by the block, so I have to sift it because it comes very firm. But if you buy the 2-pound bags, normally those bags are very soft and you don't have to sift them. The only time you really want to sift sugar or powdered sugar is when you are doing intricate design. You do have to sift the sugar. But if you're using a 2-pound bag, it's already soft enough for you to use as is. It's only when it's in big bulks, 7 pounds, 10 pounds, 15 pounds, that you do have to sift. Our next ingredient is flavor. You can use any flavor you want to flavor your frosting. I use almond almond emulsion, which is my signature flavor. Loran makes a fantastic product, all natural, almond emulsion, and emulsion is stronger than extract. You can use it in your frosting, in your cake batter, in your cookie dough, in your pastry doughs, and in your pie dough. Anything you want to use emulsion in to flavor, you can use it in. The other thing that we're going to be using is boiling water. And we are now ready to start the recipe. Okay, so here in the bowl I have my shortening and I'm going to mix it a little bit before I add my boiling water. Now the boiling water is because, as I mentioned before, this high ratio shortening hates water. It resists its high humidity and temperature for a reason. So it's going to take a few minutes before that water really incorporates into the shortening because of the emulsifying agents that it has. We're going to bring up the speed a little bit to get this mixed in really good. And we're going to whip it until we get a nice soft butter consistency. The reason they call it buttercream is for that reason. It's because the frosting is soft like butter. So I want you to peek here through my hole here in the screen so that you can see the butter and, not the butter, the shortening and the water is blended together. Before we add our butter, we want to make sure that that water and shortening has blended together. You're going to be pushing this down several times while you're making this recipe. It does not take a long time to make, but you are going to be pushing this down several times in order to get everything blended well. So we're going to continue here with our buttercream, I'm going to add my second quarter cup of boiling water. Mix this up really good. And also start adding my butter to this. So I want to mix this up really good first. Make sure the water and the Sweetex has blended completely before I start adding my butter. Okay, so here we have the frosting almost complete. I just wanted to show you that all the gloss has left. It'll still look shiny because you have fat incorporated into this, but you will have no gloss, which is the water that might be lingering around. It is completely mixed. Okay, you're going to push this down several times before you get to your final product. And now we're giving it one good whip in medium-high speed just for a couple of seconds. I want to show you the consistency of this frosting. So as you see, I'm going to bring some closer up to the camera. And you can see the smoothness of this frosting. Now that it's all incorporated, the shortening and the butter, see how smooth that is? That is the consistency that you're looking for. Something smooth like butter, like room temperature butter. That's what you're looking for. All these little pieces of butter you see in there will incorporate nicely in just a bit. You won't see that in your frosting at all. See the texture? That's what we're looking for. This type of smooth texture you see here. I went ahead and added my 3 pounds of 10x sugar, my powdered sugar, slowly to the mixer. And now I'm mixing my frosting. As you see, I'm mixing it on low speed. There's no need to incorporate air into this. I'm also going to add my flavor. I've got 2 tablespoons here of flavor, which is, 1 tablespoon of flavor, which is equal to 3 teaspoons. As I continue to mix, again, I'm going to constantly be moving my frosting down off the spatula so everything can get incorporated. Move everything to the sides, get everything off from the bottom of the bowl, and make sure that all my frosting has been incorporated with the flavor. So you constantly have to be moving your frosting down to the bottom of the bowl. So I'm going to give it its final mix here. And I'm also going to cover my mixer. I'm leaving a little window here so you can see through the plastic. I'm beating it in a high speed and I am covering the mixer in order for the air not to accumulate inside the machine. This will stop your buttercream from actually breathing, and what will happen is that sometimes when buttercream has too much oxygen in it, it'll create bubbles in your buttercream. So when you're smoothing it out, you see all these bubbles cracking, and also it'll stop your buttercream from actually pulsating. Okay, we're going to test it one more time so that you can see this beautiful consistency. And this is what we're looking for. You see no butter pieces in here, no fat pieces, nice and smooth buttercream. That is what we're looking for, nice and smooth buttercream. Now this buttercream, even though it looks so smooth, it is a medium stiff consistency. We would actually take this and separate it, and this is the consistency that you want to use to decorate, but we need to make this just a bit softer in order to actually frost our cakes. If your cakes are too soft, this would actually probably break your cake. So you want to make sure that once you get to this point, you separate what you're going to decorate with, and then you have a separate bowl that you're going to add a little teeny weeny bit of more hot water, boiling water, and make it just a tad smoother. Again, this is medium stiff consistency, and we want to work with medium soft to frost the cake. We're going to go ahead and start frosting some cupcakes. I've already pre-dyed the frosting, and now we are going to make our rolls. I'm making here a little button in order so I can attach something for my petals. This petal is done with the 104. My hand is being held at 3 o'clock. My cupcake is straight up and down at 12. When I use this tip, I'm coming halfway across the other petal, and I am going slightly up and down, just slightly up and down in order to create the rolls. This one here that we're going to be doing is our carnation. This is just a little button on top, and then this is your 104 tip again. I'm holding the tip at 3 o'clock and I'm ruffling back and forth, not in and out, but back and forth. You can do it all at one time if you have your cupcake on a flower nail, or you can do it as I'm doing it here by 2 or 3 ruffles and then turning the cupcake. This actually is very, very beautiful on a cupcake. I'm now positioning my hand in my bag to be at a slant. The fat side of the tip is always down, the skinny side is always up, and in my hand, my tip is now going to be on a slant so that I can create petals on the outside of the ruffle. And again, I'm just going slightly up and down, just small little petals all around the carnation. When you're starting to do these, take your time. This is not a rush. If you take your time, everything will come out so pretty. I give these classes at my shop, so when I do these classes, they're live and people come to the store to take classes. If you're in town, you can always visit Jacksonville Cakes and More. Now we're going to do the rosette, and what you just saw me do is called double bagging. I've taken my bag, took off the tip, and dropped it in another bag with my 1M. I'm starting at 12 o'clock, I'm coming out at 9, and I am hugging that star that I created. I am floating around the cupcake, letting the frosting fall. I come around twice on a cupcake for the rosette. Once I reach where I'm starting from, I stop squeezing and pull away. The next cupcake we're going to make is the hydranium. This is with your 1M, and we do stars all over it, making sure your stars are all the same size and the same height so that it looks like a hydranium once you're done. Our next cupcake that we're going to make here is made of ribbons. I'm going to start with just 3 ribbons around. I go halfway around my ribbon and then come back halfway around that ribbon that I just did. This is also with your 104 tip, fat side down, skinny side up, your hands at a 3 o'clock position, and your cupcake is always held at a 12 o'clock position. This will create a beautiful rose. This is part of our cupcake bouquet, all these flowers that we've done, and we do lots of other ones. Our cupcake bouquet class is available to come and do at the shop as a live class. We're at 5547 Fort Caroline Road in Jacksonville, Florida. You can also visit our website, www.jacksonvillecakesandmore.com, and ask us any questions that you have. You can contact us through there. Have a wonderful day, and thank you for joining me.